Welcome to Skin Deep here on Sirius XM Radio, Channel 141, HUR Voices. I'm your host, as always, Sharrarne Morton, and I am here again with my girl guest co-host Melissa Ambers, publisher of Savvy, the business magazine, and owner of the marketing studio in Houston, Texas. Melissa, hey girl, thank you for being a guest today.
Hey, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
And you know, folks, I don't know if you remember, but Melissa's studio is the first studio globally that is woman owned and focuses on business development and branding. And Melissa, like myself, we're both Black female small business owners. We are going to be talking about being Black female entrepreneurs. It's both challenging and rewarding, right,
Yes,
Melissa?
it is. Yes, it is.
Black women represent 42% of new women-owned businesses. That's 3 times their share of the female population. And 36% of all Black-owned employer businesses. We're out here working hard and smart. Always have been. But who would have thought that a pandemic would have erased so much of that hard work, Melissa?
Yeah, who would have thought? But this is something that, went in and nobody could prepare no one for it. And
Right.
especially for a lot of small businesses that, was already, building and
Hmm.
probably finally got their foot leveled in a certain place, then all of a sudden, bam, you know,
Yeah.
here goes a pandemic. It was no, hey, we coming. Hey, just
Right.
give you notice. It was
Right.
bam, here it
Right.
is.
Yeah. And not only did it throw small businesses off their marks, but large corporations had to shutter too. I mean, a whole lot of businesses
Yeah,
went out of business.
yeah, and that was surprising on some that you didn't expect to,
Yeah.
but that goes back to say you never know what goes on behind closed doors.
That's so true. And I think this pandemic has taught us all a lesson, especially as Black business owners. You know, you got to prepare. You never know what's coming. And that's just one more thing you have to add to your plate.
Yeah.
Preparation for anything to come, which we should do anyway, right? So,
Yeah, we definitely have to prepare. And the lesson that I hope a lot of business owners and just individuals have
mhm.
walked away with is the preparation. We
Yeah,
always say, I get to it, or it's
yeah,
coming, or I do it later. But it's like, okay, we have to get it together. We
got to
have
get
to
it
get it
together. Yeah.
together. Yeah.
So folks, listen, as I always say, we're going to be doing more than just scratching the surface. Today on Skin Deep, we're giving you the power to make informed decisions about your financial health and wellness. And by the way, if you're interested in being on the show, email me at skindeepradioshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with information you just can't afford to miss here on Skin Deep.
Do you need expert advice from successful business leaders on how to start, grow, and finance your business? Tune in every week to the Small Business Report at HUR Voices on Sirius XM Channel 141 with your hosts Carl Brown and Sharrarne Morton. The Small Business Report gives you, the small business owner, and those thinking about starting a business, expert advice from successful business leaders around the country. Visit us at smallbusinessreport.biz and like us on Facebook. The Small Business Report, giving you the tools you need to succeed.
Are you a business owner and your business needs a boost? Are you ready to build or grow a profitable business that delivers new clients and customers to you every month? Have your business highlighted on a national radio show or TV network. Let MortonMediaTV.com help you get the maximum exposure your business deserves so that you can get the customers you need. MortonMediaTV.com will help you start or grow your business rapidly through the power of TV and radio. You can reach hundreds of thousands of viewers and listeners who want to buy your product or service. At MortonMediaTV.com, our mission is to teach business owners how to use the media to their benefit. You can become a thriving entrepreneur and achieve the financial freedom you've always dreamed about. Go to MortonMediaTV.com and get your business on TV or radio for the maximum exposure you deserve and the customers you need. That's MortonMediaTV.com. Get ready for skincare and makeup that will heal your mind, body, and soul. SkinDeepBeautyStore.com is a totally organic and vegan skincare and makeup line that you'll love using, because what you put on your body is just as important as what you put in it. Choose from our organic moisturizers, anti-aging serums, natural and fruit-based scrubs, masks, lipsticks, and glosses. No more worries about harsh chemicals being absorbed into your skin. It's time to commit to your health and wellness. SkinDeepBeautyStore.com is your one-stop, cruelty-free skincare and makeup shop with safe and environmentally friendly ingredients for the love of you. Visit us at SkinDeepBeautyStore.com. That's SkinDeepBeautyStore.com. Welcome back to Skin Deep here on Sirius XM Radio Channel 141 HUR Voices. As we mentioned before the break, I have my guest co-host on the show again, Melissa Amber, CEO and publisher of Savvy, the business magazine, and owner of the marketing studio in Houston, Texas. Oh, Melissa, before we do a deep dive into being Black and female and entrepreneurs, tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and your website.
You can reach me at www.smginc.biz, or you can shoot me an email at info@smginc.biz.
Okay, sounds good. So, folks, we're talking about being Black, female, and entrepreneurs. Talk about three the hard way, okay? And let's not forget the huge disparities between Black and white-owned businesses in this country, even now, even more so now, I should say, because of this pandemic, like Melissa and I were talking about before the break. It's really, really tough being a Black female, Melissa, but you add entrepreneur to that title, and you're
Wow.
talking about really tough. So people have to realize that people like you and I, Melissa, we might we might not have all of our marbles, right? Because we have taken on even more of a challenge adding entrepreneurship to being Black and female. What do you think about that?
Yes, you are absolutely right. And, you have the whole female thing to go with. And when you add Black on top of that, that's just a
Hmm.
whole nother, pot of things. And,
Hmm.
even if you're in a have a professional career, there's a lot of things you still go with through corporate America.
That's true.
Been there, done that.
So true.
That you're looked at a certain way, you're not supposed to know certain things, but they want to keep putting you in a box.
You got to know
And
more. You got to be more. You got to work
yes,
more. All of
and
that.
sometimes that
Yeah.
don't matter, Sharrarne. That
You're
doesn't
right.
matter
You're right. You're right.
because
It's
it's
all about your Black skin, right?
yeah,
You
and,
know,
and
and
how much you can keep quiet.
oh, right. Yeah, that's true. And you know what? I was thinking, as a small business owner myself, a lot of times people on the outside looking in are like, oh, you got it going on, Sharon, you're doing this, you're doing
Yeah.
that. But,
Hmm.
people don't really understand what goes into making a business work. And I sometimes think about, oh gosh, maybe I should just go find a job, go get a job. And I'm like, no, this
Yes.
is in my blood. Being an entrepreneur is who I am. I live it, I breathe it, I eat it, and that's what you have to do if you want to be an entrepreneur, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that's nonstop. It's continuous.
It
I don't
is.
care what type of degree you have, letters you have behind your name, in front of your name. It doesn't matter. You have to continuously learn and do research and keep evolving what you
Yeah.
know.
Keep pivoting,
Because
especially during a pandemic.
oh my God, that is so crucial, so crucial.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They think, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go back and we're going to do this, this, this. I'm not saying you should do a completely different type of business, but with what you're doing, you're going to have to pivot and figure out and do it a different way.
Yeah.
It's
If
We
you want to
have a
stay
new
in
normal.
business, right? Yeah, it is a new normal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Like, for instance, I'm usually in a studio taping my shows, and right now I'm using a studio platform, and it's coming across. Luckily, SiriusXM and WHUR, we're able to upload our shows and they still broadcast, but we've had to pivot and go from being in the
Yeah.
studio to working from our homes like so many other people. But the thing too that I realize is that I'm not the only one in this boat where I feel like, wow, I'm having to pivot and make changes and do different things to stay afloat. I'm reading about huge, businesses that are having to do the same thing, and especially Black-owned businesses. There's a young woman named Sharika Winter, and she was on a roll before the pandemic, right? She released. She's here in my area in Maryland. She released an insulated luxury tote bag for professionals back in 2018, and she sold out of the bag 3 times, right? And she'd been
Wow.
featured in British GQ and International Business Times and all these local news segments. And she also got a Google Small Business Award, right?
Hmm.
And she was able to capture a joint venture deal with a prominent Black law firm to create another product for professionals. This luxury bag that she created was for professionals. So this Black law firm was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, let's work together." And so she was really, really growing. And again, it's hard to be an entrepreneur, period. But if you're a Black female entrepreneur, it's really, really tough. And so she was fortunate enough to start growing exponentially. But then when the coronavirus hit, her sales, declined substantially, where she had almost no sales at all. And she had to lay off almost everybody on her team. And what she's doing now, like so many of us, is she's applied for a PPP loan and different
Hmm.
grants, and she's waiting for money to come through. And so I want people that's listening to understand that it's not just them that are having to do all of these things to make their small businesses or businesses to work. I'm not going to say small, I'm going to say business, because I'm not going to think small, right? Our
Right.
businesses are
Right.
going to grow. But to make their businesses work, they have to realize they're not the only ones that are having to pivot and to make changes and to apply for grants and to apply for loans. It's definitely no exaggeration to say that the pandemic has decimated, businesses, especially those owned by Black women. And so this virus, has bared a disproportionate impact on us. What do you think?
You are absolutely right. And you know what? It's actually evident in front of your face.
Yeah.
If you turn on the TV, they are showing you pivoting.
Mm-hmm.
Every news channel, everyone is showing you. Before this pandemic hit, how many news channels did you see with all of these Zoom screens and panels and all of these things? Nobody.
Right.
Even the talk shows, you have award shows. It's
Mm-hmm.
showing you that you have to pivot and do something different if you're going to continue doing what you're doing.
Right.
So it's actually showing you, they're showing you in your face, this is what you're going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have our same theme, just like the Grammys. Who'd have thought you have the Grammys
I
with
know.
boatload of screens behind you and people are performing in all these different studios all over the place,
Right.
and it's still
Yeah.
streaming into the channel. You're watching it as if they're on the show, but you don't
Hmm.
have the crowd, you don't have the liveness. So I think if
Everybody
we
has to do
everybody
this.
and I
Hmm.
think if you pay attention to not only what's in front of you, but you have to be realistic with yourself, your business, your finances, and everything that's around you to figure out what you need to do. Forget
Hmm. Yeah.
about trying to, show off or keep it up for the Joneses. Be realistic for yourself. If you have to cut back some or stuff isn't flowing the way just be hey, it's slow right now. I'm not where I used to be, but use that time to dig in. Use
Yeah.
that time to redo your funnels, to redo,
Hmm.
whatever your business plan is. Look at the things that you need to redo and be transparent, be honest with yourself, and don't be embarrassed about asking for help.
Now, that's the thing I think we want to talk about in the next segment too, Melissa, is not being afraid to ask for help. Because I think sometimes as women, but Black women in particular, we're taught to be strong and to,
Yeah.
work through it and take care of everyone. And we're last to be taken care of, or the last to take care of ourselves. And I think this has taught us that, you are going to have to reach out for help. And in order to be successful, just in life, period, you have to
Yes.
have help.
Yes.
You need that. But
Yes.
I wanted to really quickly touch on before we go to break. You were talking about, being out there in the corporate world and how, some women have left the corporate world because of the
Hmm.
way we're treated. And so we've come into the entrepreneurship world. And I was going to say high levels of education coupled with those, overcoming those barriers to corporate and advancement have certainly prompted Black women to pursue entrepreneurship where they have become a potent economic force. I mean, we are an economic force in this country. Small businesses are anyway, because we're the largest employers in this country. But Black women, we've continued to pursue entrepreneurship, and we grew, from
Yeah.
2007 to 2012 and all the way up to 2019. I
Hmm.
think almost 50% from 2014 to 2019. So we represent the highest growth rate of any female demographic with regard to entrepreneurship. So, we have the juice and we have the power. It's just right now we do have to remember that there's nothing wrong with asking for help, for coming, with coming together and trying to help each other, build each other's brands and help promote each other.
Absolutely.
So let's
Hmm.
talk some more about that because you and I have done that, right, Melissa? Come
Yes.
together and,
Yes. Yes.
helped each other. So let's talk about that after the break. So we'll be right back after these messages, folks. Stay tuned right here on Skin Deep. Elevate your business to the next level of success with the Marketing Studio and SiriusXM Radio. Advertise and market your business on TV and radio to a national audience. Increase your bottom line by putting your brand, product, or service in front of thousands of potential customers. Go to smginc.biz/service for more information on how you can maximize your business exposure and increase your customer base. That's smginc.biz/service or email media@smginc.biz. Are you a business owner and your business needs a boost? Are you ready to build or grow a profitable business that delivers new clients and customers to you every month? Have your business highlighted on a national radio show or TV network. Let MortonMediaTV.com help you get the maximum exposure your business deserves so that you can get the customers you need. MortonMediaTV.com will help you start or grow your business rapidly through the power of TV and radio. You can reach hundreds of thousands of viewers and listeners who want to buy your product or service. At MortonMediaTV.com, our mission is to teach business owners how to use the media to their benefit. You can become a thriving entrepreneur and achieve the financial freedom you've always dreamed about. Go to MortonMediaTV.com and get your business on TV or radio for the maximum exposure you deserve and the customers you need. That's MortonMediaTV.com. And we're back here on Skin Deep on SiriusXM Radio, Channel 141. I'm here with my guest co-host, Melissa Ambers of Savvy, the business magazine. Melissa, we're having a very important discussion about being Black, female,
Yeah.
and an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Oh, Lordy, talk about how hard that is in the
Is
middle of a
is
pandemic, no less.
my God. I think it's this is, like we mentioned earlier, it's a wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
And for, everything that's happened is reaching out to people, and there's a lot of partnership and collaborations that has happened because of the pandemic, because
Mm-hmm.
we need help. We can't, it is really true, I don't care what industry you're in, we can't do it by ourselves.
We
There's
can't, yeah.
absolutely no way we could do it by ourselves. And I think, finding, those connections. But you know what? Let me back up just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When we're saying partnership and collaborations, when you're meeting people, whether it's over social media, through somebody, or however the connection may happen, understand building a relationship with someone.
Right.
It's
That's
not
important.
always about selling. Sometimes, when
Right.
people meet people, or what I call the
Mhm.
card shuffle, when
Mhm.
you do hand out your card or whatever, the first, instead of just saying, great meeting you, I would like to get to know a little bit more about you, or have some type of conversation, or meet back up with her with coffee or lunch or brunch or something, it goes
Mhm.
straight into, okay, well, my package is this, or what can I do
Right.
for you? How can I,
Mhm.
it's like you go into sell mode.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be aware of that. Because if a
Mhm.
person truly, they're like urgently in need of your services, they're going to say, you know what? I've been looking for you. I need XYZ. And then you go into that. But
Right. Yeah.
sometimes it's just necessary to build a relationship, because sometimes that relationship will not only grow into something, but you never know who knows who, or who's
Yeah.
going to cross paths
Oh,
with who.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I've learned that. I've learned that. And what I do like too is that there are so many different organizations that are all about growing a global sisterhood of, network of business
Yeah.
owners who are
Mm-hmm.
building thriving enterprises, long-term community wealth, because that's what we're in it for. We're not only in it to make money and build a legacy for our families, ourselves and our families, but the community as well. Because when you build for your community, you're building for everybody, your kids, your grandkids.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's really important that, Black women in particular help each other and promote each other's businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and support each other, especially right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that support could mean, it doesn't have to mean financial support or anything. It could mean,
Yeah.
just a ear, somebody to listen to or talk to about,
Right.
your challenges of being
Right.
Black and female and an entrepreneur in America, right?
Yeah. No, right. I've had a situation like that, the person thought, oh, well, you're not supporting me because you're not buying.
Oh,
I don't need,
wow.
I may not need your product or your services, but my support comes from, promoting you on social media, attending your
Yes.
events, letting people
Yeah.
know about you.
Mhm. Mhm.
That support comes in a lot of different ways. Because I don't need your product or services, or I may not like the style or fashion of it. That's not downing you.
That's
That's just
right.
my individual opinion. But I can
Mhm.
still support you in a variety of different other ways.
Yeah, that's right. And you do
Yeah.
do that too, Melissa. I want everybody to know that Melissa definitely supports so many businesses. She's always, always posting everybody's information, always highlighting so many people, inviting people, including me, to speak. So, Melissa, you are one of those Black women who believe in uplifting all Black women. So I thank you for that. And that's why I wanted to have you on as a
Oh,
co-host.
thank you, thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that you see people doing, good, and you have to. And granted, I'm not gonna say it's always as good as it looks. You're not gonna have that same support from the same people you're supporting all the time, and that's
Right.
okay.
And
And
that
that's
is okay.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It goes back to, what relationship is that? Is that the person you need to depend on to support you? Or is that a
Hmm.
person that's just saying, girl, I got your back?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
understand that relationship. And if it's
Yeah.
that type of relationship, it's okay. But you also have to understand seasons
Oh,
with certain
wow.
people.
Oh, you're right. What is that saying? I can't remember that saying about seasons. Do you remember
Uh,
it? You meet people at a certain season, or I can't remember the
I know
saying,
it. Yeah, I
but
can't remember it exactly, but
it's
yeah.
so important that you brought that up. Why did you bring that up?
Because it goes back to, like, percent of support. It's that support. And some people get, I don't want to use the word confused, but some people get tangled up in that, where I've known you for 6 years, 10 years, and now I'm growing a business, or I'm doing something different in my career, and
Hmm.
they're not with you like they used to, because they're going in a different direction. And
Yeah,
as you grow, people go in different directions.
they
And I'm not saying you
do.
have to hate somebody, or y'all have to get into some ugly, you know argument or anything. It's just, see, sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
we may not talk for 6 months, but when we do, go, hey girl, how you
Yeah, it's just
doing?
like
How
you
you
never
been?
stop. That's right. You never stop
Right.
talking. I think that saying is some people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's what that
There
quote
you go.
is.
There you go.
Right. And so, and you're absolutely right about that. I wanted to also let people know what it is that you do because you do several things. You have an online publishing magazine or online magazine that highlights
Yeah.
businesses, and you
Hmm.
also have a marketing studio. So tell everybody what you do as a Black female entrepreneur.
Thank you. My magazine is Savvy the Business Magazine, and it is a digital magazine.
What's the
And
website, real quick? How can people see the
it's
magazine?
it's www.savvymag.biz.
Savvy, SAVVY, with two V's, right?
Yes,
Mag, MAG.
SAVVY.
Okay, dot biz.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And in the magazine, the reason I created the magazine is because, we have magazines all over the place, major ones and local magazines. But most of the magazines that I came across was not like a resource. It
Mm-hmm.
was, you may have one or two business articles in there, but basically just it always talked about the person, and
Right.
then it was other things in there. But I wanted a magazine to where I can have contributors to not only coming in to talk about themselves, because of course I want you to highlight the things that you're doing, but also have some tips and solutions in there that you can actually open that magazine and say, okay, where do I go to, do a business plan, or how can I get over here and do my social media or whatever it is. So I wanted a magazine that had some of those things in there. And what I'm doing for the remainder of this year, this is the year of the woman. I know that's not stamped, but I'm calling it the year of the woman. And every issue for the remaining of this year is all about women.
Oh, I
So
know, I know. And
if
wait a
you,
minute. I know because you put me on the cover of your magazine, which I was so
I
thankful
did.
and so happy about that, Melissa. But yeah, why did you decide to do that for this year, the year of the woman?
With everything going on and starting, back in January, everybody got excited about, your Chucks and Pearls, Kamala Harris, and, everything going on, and all these women that was being recognized and put in these prominent positions. And I'm like, you
Hmm.
know what? We have some people that the news is not talking about. We have people on
Right,
social media that is not on these major networks.
right.
So let me do my best to try to reach out to them and see if I can connect and get them to be a part of the magazine. And I want to shout them out.
Yeah.
So that's why I
And
wanted
that's
to
what
do
you've been
that.
doing. Yeah.
So we have some on the cover, and the others would just be, throughout the magazine. But
So
it's
talk about
is
the marketing studio too. What is that
okay.
all about?
The marketing studio that came about, again, doing research and not find every marketing firm and things out there, and this is no down into any marketing firms, but everyone was doing PR and web, PR and web, PR and web. I'm like, wait, you got to do some other things before you hit to the PR and web. So as
You mean
I
public
looked,
relations and
yes,
okay,
web
yeah, explain.
design. Hmm.
Yeah, okay. Hmm.
And before you get there, you have to build and understand what you're building. So
Hmm.
throughout my research, I did not find anyone that did the combination of business development and branding. On the business development side, it was like coaching, coach this, coach that. And so I decided, okay, I like the marketing studio. I looked up the names. There was not any out there. So I started researching. I went global, and I did not find a marketing studio that focuses on business development and branding. So
Okay.
I took it,
Yeah.
I ran with it,
And
I made
you've
sure
been
it
running
was
ever since.
copyrighted.
Right. You did what you were
And
supposed to do, Melissa. We got to get
before
ready to go though, but go ahead. What were we going to
okay,
say? One more. What were you going to say?
I just want, if you come up with an idea, keep your mouth shut. Don't tell nobody.
I'm
Get it
sorry.
protected. And once it's protected, then you go run your mouth.
Right. Well, Melissa, it's been great having you on as a co-host. I'm so happy
Thank you,
that
thank you,
you are
thank you.
helping so many of us Black female entrepreneurs out there not just Black female entrepreneurs, you're helping entrepreneurs, period, out there. So I am so happy that you're doing that. And folks, that's it for now. This show goes by so quickly, doesn't it, Melissa?
It does.
I hope you take this information we provided and use it to grow your financial health. You can hear this show on SiriusXM Radio Channel 141, HUR Voices on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, as well as on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google. And email me at skindeepradioshow@gmail.com or go to mortonmediatv.com if you're interested in being a guest on the show. Thanks again for tuning in on all things that are skin deep.